Thank you for joining us on J&L Video Postcards, where our mission is to bring you experiences, adventures, and maybe even the occasional travel tip. Today we'll be talking about experiencing London in 3 hours or less and our Virgin Atlantic flying experience. We start our adventure journeying from MCO to London Heathrow via Virgin Atlantic. Virgin Atlantic is a UK-based airline that made quite a splash in the US a few years ago, featuring in-flight Wi-Fi, a very unique interior design, and above-industry customer service. To borrow from T-Mobile's advertising, Virgin Atlantic positioned themselves as the uncarrier, or an antithesis of the business-as-usual full-fare airlines. We were very curious to see how Virgin Atlantic had kept up with the competition over the years, seeing as how JetBlue just established routes going into some UK destinations, and a lot of US carriers had met or surpassed what was the competitive edge for Virgin Atlantic a decade ago. Walking on board the aircraft, we were immediately impressed with the purple LED color scheme and the swag bag they had left for us with the blanket and complimentary headphones. A little bit of disappointment was that I could not immediately start watching the entertainment, as I had to view a rotating list of Virgin Atlantic's destinations, which served as kind of a hint to remind you that they were still an option if you would like to go to some of those destinations. One thing I did particularly love was the pre-flight safety video designed to keep your attention. The video cycled through different movie themes, from Western to film noir to an action film. It was creative and refreshing, not seeing anything like it on any other airline before. Once the safety video was finally done, the entertainment system was released for our perusing. The selection was very small when compared to their SkyTeam partner Delta's entertainment system, and we found most of the movies and films to be old or just not very good movies. The selections that were new were those second-tier films that spent little or no time in theaters. There is one exciting feature I found that I've never seen on any other airline, and that was the exterior cameras of the plane, allowing you to both see the tail forward view and belly areas of the plane in real time. This made for quite an enjoyable time around takeoff and landing. Another thing of note was the food on the plane, which was one of the true highlights of our trip. It seemed like every couple of hours we were being served a beverage, meal, or a snack. I picked a pasta dish for one of the meals that came with a salad, roll, crackers, and cheese. I'm not one who rates airplane food, but the dishes were at least as good as any TV dinner I'd ever had. Before all the comments come in, I should remind our audience that we are not transportation reviewers, and we are just describing our opinions and experiences. If you're looking for a more comprehensive review, may I suggest somebody like Jeb Brooks, who does a fantastic job. After 10 hours of flight, we finally landed at London Heathrow. Going through customs was a breeze, and figuring out the public transportation was not too bad, having lived in the Big Apple for 3 years. The subway, or tube as they call it though, was much more orderly and clean than what the MTA operates. With a little help from Google Maps, we made our way to Buckingham Palace, or somewhere near it, to start our sightseeing trip in London. This was a business trip for us, so we knew we only had 3 to 4 hours before we had to catch our train at King's Cross, so we knew we had to make every minute count. We walked to view the front of Buckingham Palace for a few minutes prior to the changing of the guard, so we can get as unimpeded a view as possible of the grounds. This would lead me to my first travel tip, which is if you're standing at Buckingham Palace waiting to see the changing of the guard, you're already doing it wrong. You're either going to be crushed by tourists or not be able to see much at all unless you're some of the fortunate few. You should go to St. James Palace about 10:30 a.m. London time to grab your spot across from the palace. This is where the Old Guard begins their formation. You aren't allowed to stand at the gate, as you'll be escorted away by officers, but you can stand across the street to secure your view of Friary Court. There are actually 3 different places to catch different vantage points of the changing the guard, but trust me that this is the one you will want to be in. The marching band forms at the exit of St. James Palace, followed by the Old Guard behind them. From this starting point, you can follow the procession down, and there won't be a lot of people blocking your view along the way. Realizing we had devoted too much of our precious time to one tourist attraction, we made the decision to do something we swore we would never do. We decided to hop on the Big Red Bus. More specifically, we should say that we swore to never do the Big Red Bus in New York because we knew that most of the tourist elements were more cheaply and easily accessed via public transport like subway or city bus. I assume the same is probably true for London, but we just didn't have the time to navigate and find out, so we handed over the $55 and boarded our Big Red transport. For those unaware of what the Big Red Bus is, or what its competitors do, these are known as hop-on, hop-off buses. You pay a set fee for a set amount of time and follow a published route that will take you by all the tourist hotspots. The ones in both New York and London have an open roof, and if the weather is nice, you can ride up top in the whole tour without getting off the bus if you'd like. Our aim was to do a mix of both, to soak up what we could of the attractions we were interested in, as well as get off the bus and enjoy that experience as well. We happened to go the week prior to the coronation, so we found Londoners to be at their finest and very helpful to boot. We made our way around London, taking in sights such as Big Ben, the London Eye, and Tower Bridge. There is an audio tour included with the ticket, and the driver provides headsets, but we did not take advantage of this, preferring the sounds of London instead. A hop-on, hop-off bus is a great way to see the city in a short amount of time and get a taste of what it has to offer. As we rode on the bus, we couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between the old and the new architecture of London. The traditional buildings and landmarks stood proudly next to modern skyscrapers and buildings. It was a fascinating mix of the old and new, giving London its unique character. Some highlights of our hopping off for us were seeing the changing of the guard, a chance arrival at Big Ben right at noon, and a tour of the vault at the original Hard Rock. After a couple of hours hopping on and off the bus, we hopped off finally at King's Cross Station to catch our train. Our 3 hours in London had flown by, but we felt like we had seen and experienced so much. We were impressed with Virgin Atlantic service and food, and the hop-on, hop-off bus was a convenient way to see the city. London had definitely left a lasting impression on us, and we couldn't wait to come back and explore more when we had more time. Thank you for joining us on J&L Video Postcards. We hope you enjoyed our London adventure and taking a look at our Virgin Atlantic experience. Stay tuned for more exciting travel escapades and like and subscribe. Thanks. Bye.